Alright, what's up guys? Sam Wiki, and we're going to be tying a old school saltwater pattern today. Well, a riff off of it called the Seaducer. So, I'm sure many of you guys are familiar with this pattern. But been tying a lot of these lately. We have with House of Fly, we have a little trip coming up. We call them a fish camp, and it's into Rockport, Texas. So the guys have been tying a bunch of redfish stuff, and of course Seaducer's on a lot of guide lists when going on a redfish trip. So here's just some ideas of different stuff that you can do with some old school patterns. So we have first thing I'm going to add to this fly is this is the lateral scale Flashaboo. So this is the smaller one. If you it's such a good looking flash. I think probably most of you guys are familiar with it, but if not, we carry every size and shape of head drawn Flashaboo brand Flashaboo or Flash on the House of Fly website. So if there's any colors you've been looking for, we have every single one. That Flashaboo or head drawn is the parent company that makes it. So we got about I think I got 4 strands. So I was trying to get 4 strands of this smaller lateral scale, and we're just going to tie that straight out the back. And I don't know what length this is, but I've been cutting it right to where the color starts on my regal. So however far that is from the tip of the jaws to where the color starts, it looks like 2.5 inches out the back. Okay, the next step of this fly, and this is a kind of a critical step to getting it to look right, and probably to fish right too, is to get these hackle fibers splayed correctly. And just choosing the right fibers is kind of the trick. So I'm using a whiting American Rooster whole cape. And it's kind of important that you guys get a whole cape. If you guys try to use, you can make it work. And honestly, it's a redfish. They'll probably eat it anyways. But if you want the flies to look right and you're just into tying flies as well, and you want it to look right, you want to get this whole cape, because if you just get a bag, you're just getting random feathers that are probably being collected at the factories. But these ones have, you can get, you get a bunch of different sizes for tailing versus for palmering, or even some of this back stuff where you can use it for like almost like webby schlappen style feathers. But you also get matched pairs. So if you pick from about the same height on the cape, from one from the right and one from the left, you can kind of match up a matched pair. And what I mean by that is I picked 2 feathers here. You want 2 things from this. You want them to splay out, and you don't want them to go opposite directions. So you want them to splay out like this, and you want them to be pretty even. So you want the fat sides to be on the same side. There's usually a fat side and a skinny side to a hackle, piece of hackle. And you want them to be opposite, and you want them to splay out. So when you pull the fly, they'll probably come together when this is all wet, but when you stop the fly, they sit there and splay. And that's the idea. So it's kind of one of the important flies if you're tying these and you want to show your buddies afterwards. I'm sure the fly will work no matter what, because again, it's a redfish. They're a pretty reactionary fish. If the fish is happy and wants to eat it, it's probably going to anyways. But so you're just going to tie these in on both sides. And there's a natural curve to the feather like we were just talking, so you want that natural curve to splay out. This is the cool thing about this fly, is this is a very simple and fairly quick fly to tie. So we'll just cut our tag ends down there, clean that up a tiny bit. Not that it matters, we're gonna wrap right over it. And then on this next part, I just like to get a little bit webbier piece. So that, here's one I just tied before this, that just so that it pulls back a little bit and the fibers are a little bit longer. We're not tying a completely 100% traditional style Seaducer. For those of you who aren't familiar with the patterns, this is a fly that was designed by Homer Rhodes. And if you know that name, you're probably familiar with the name because he invented the Homer Rhodes loop knot, which is kind of one of the most accepted loop knots when using a big tippet for tarpon and stuff. So that's what he was pretty famous for. All right, so we're just gonna put this purple, I used it from the exact same cape so that it matches exactly. And we're just gonna start palmering that to the front. You can definitely use a hackle pliers here. I might here, depending on how close I use to the end. On this part here, you don't have to get the winding perfectly next to each other because we're going to kind of push it back with our thread. Okay, when you get about to there, that's probably good because we just really want the long fibers here sticking out the back. And we'll cut our tag end off here. So again, like I said, we're going to pull these all back. We kind of want this to splay backwards. Again, this is kind of where we're veering from the traditional pattern a bit. The traditional pattern pretty much has a straight palmered hackle all the way to the front. And while I get that will probably push more water, this is just a variation, and there's plenty of other videos already made of the traditional version of this fly, so this is just a little way to switch it up. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, we're going to add this, this is a white dyed light dun, but you could use any color. Obviously black would probably be a great choice since black and purple seems to be the go-to color for now for a lot of red fishermen. And we're just going to tie that in. Probably the reason I started tying this is, was interested in this pattern above many other trending patterns right now. This one's really not trending, but above other patterns, is just when we were in Texas last time, the redfish can be, I mean, they can be a fairly not too difficult fish to catch. Sometimes they're not picky at all, but the ones in Texas, we're fishing extremely skinny water most of the time. At least we were last time we were there. And I mean, even a fly line going over their heads will almost certainly spook them. So this fly is very, very light. Which is one of the things I really like about it. And when you're fishing in only a few inches of water, the weight of the fly isn't as important. It just has to get subsurface, so it will be important that the fly is saturated with water so that it goes under the water. But that's about all you're going to need in super shallow conditions. Alright, so we'll just tie that off. We're going to pull those fibers back and just finish this quick before we do the final step. It's never fun when your whole hackle unravels right before you're about to finish your fly. So we'll whip that off. Again, I'm using nano silk thread. I love it. It never breaks and you don't build up a lot of extra bulk when you don't want it. This amber color kind of matches the grizzly stripes in this white dyed, light done hackle. But, okay, so there we go. Got the basics of the fly. If you left it just like this, it's pretty much a Seaducer. But what we're gonna do is trim the grizzly part of the hackle down. And if you hit part of the purple, that's fine as well. But we really just want to profile the body to be more like a bait fish. So I start by kind of turning the vise towards me, so I have an angle that's like an aerial view, and then I cut the sides off first. So I do one cut on the side. I don't know if I'm super into this right now, just because I just did a buzzball video and been watching Gary LaFontaine stuff, and I just think I should cut everything down now or what, but I think it profiles this fly in a pretty cool way. So, and cut the bottom and the bottom and the top down. I think it's kind of cool if a few of the fibers still stick into the purple, so that it gets kind of a nice blending going on. But there you go. That's the little variation of a Seaducer. Like I said, this fly's going to land extremely light, or extremely lightly on the water, so you're not going to spook fish. Biggest thing here is and it's a cool skill just to figure out how to find display the hackles, because that's also used on many different saltwater flies. But I think this fly would be super effective, and we're gonna find out this November when we do our fish camp. So thanks for watching, and we'll link up as much of this stuff as we can in the notes below. If you are interested in our fish camps, our first one is this November, but we have a whole list of other ones that we're planning, so just check those out at housefly.us. Alright guys, and as you're tying these flies, just keep messing with the pattern. That's the whole point of tying your own flies. Here I've been sitting here for a little bit longer since I did the tutorial, and there's just a ton of different options. So you can start messing with the thread color, we can start changing the front head, we can put a more natural back body. You can hear it on this one, I bulked the feathers out the back just to have a little bulkier presence on this one. So I doubled up the tail feathers, more traditional Seaducer style. Compared to the skinny water Seaducer we were tying earlier. So just mess with all that stuff. You can mess with hook size. Here I was using an SL11 Gamakatsu in a size 2 on this one. Those ones earlier were on a size 4. You can add beads to this, or you could add like dumbbell eyes or bead chain eyes if you wanted it to track better in the water as you stripped it, or you want it to sink better. Mess with the flashes. That flash I was mentioning earlier that I like so much is the lateral scale flash from Hedron. So I did go and get the colors just so you guys could see, but this is there is so many cool color choices. They all are really similar, but just hue differences. So there's an orange, a blue, a pink, a bunch of different hues of this flash for the tail. I don't think Homer Rhodes had this available to him back in the day when he was tying flies, so mess with his fly. That's the whole cool thing about this, and hope you try it and catch some fish on it.